We on? Hey, troops, it's Gratu Orloff, Colonel Gratu Orloff here, coming to you from the comic book shelter. Wanted to remind you that at 10, 2, and 4, make sure that you enjoy the Dr. Pepper difference. They're not a cola, not a root beer. They're the light and lively taste that you'll cheer. It's distinctively different. Also, don't forget our other sponsor, Fang. Drink it by the pint. It's Type O and Type A. It's the breakfast drink for vampires. The astronauts took it to the moon when they pretended to go to the moon, or whatever the frick that was. Anyway, bullshit. Got cat hair on my colonel cap, man. Gotta get that. It's actually my father's hat. I was an army brat. I was never in the service. To be full disclosure. Yeah, but I want to show you some war comics today and some other stuff that might be interesting, because I've got a few free minutes to do a show. It's episode 488 here of the Gratu Orloff Show. So it's nice to see you guys here Friday night. It's January the 21st, 2022, I believe, is the supposed year. Of course, they could be lying to us about what the year really is. So, today I'm going to show you also some key issues, some significant key issues that you can get for less than $5 and some for less than a quarter. So, with no further ado, let's take a look at some comic books. Oh, hey, here, this is a magazine I used to do. It was actually a magazine size, but for a few issues I tried to do a digest size issue. This cover was done by Charles Hancock. He and his brother John Hancock are the Hancock brothers, and they do amazing art. I met them through a friend of mine. Yeah, it was The Sophisticate, a magazine devoted to the pursuit of pleasure. So this is the magazine, The Sophisticate. When did I put this out? Let's see. This is issue number 16, and it's from June of 1993. So just think, when you guys were buying up your Rob Liefeld comics as a little kid or whatever, I was doing this kind of stuff. I stole this from a Dallas Notes. It was an underground newspaper. I found an old copy of a 1960s underground newspaper, and they're advertising it. I just put my magazine right over the Dallas Notes. But yeah, I wanted to show you this. This is that's actually a drawing that I did. Look, I actually used Zipatone, where you cut it out with the X-Acto blade and everything. So anyway, she's presenting. It says more never before published trash from local genius Charles Ray Hancock. So, clown crimes. Hey kids, the circus is in town. I still have the original art for this. Charles, if you want it. I think I offered it to you once, years ago, and you said, don't worry about it. But, look at this. Oh, see the pretty butterfly fluttering in the summer sky, moving about in pink and blue. The happy clown sees it too. From flower to flower it does light. He tries to catch it with all his might. He chases about for over an hour. The pretty bug he must devour. Through the glen and up the knoll, the happy clown eats it whole. Look at this wonderful artwork. And look at that. It says, Clowno drove his unicycle to the big city. His pet pig, Madagascar, followed at a discreet distance. 10 years later, Clowno was the king of crimes in Madagascar, and Madagascar his second in command. The sky darkened at dusk and lightened at dawn. Agro Clown's farm was a failure. Windswept and barren, it hid his lucrative amphetamine ranch. His art is just gorgeous. So, you could, in 1993, you could have been buying your latest Rob Liefeld masterpiece, or you could have been buying my magazine with this great artwork. The clowns met in the field next to Trailerland. They quickly placed tornado magnets under each trailer. They ran to their car a mile away. They drank light beer and watched soon dense blackness with lighter shades of dark blew in. Next, the giant tornado ate Trailerland alive, obliterating it. The clowns laughed hideously, then drove off. I don't know about this lighting. I had the light dark because they're supposed to, like, when bombing's going on, they say turn the lights out. So I only have a few lights on, but I may just go ahead and turn the lights on because I don't think anything can hurt us here in Gratu's bunker. But remember, Dr. Pepper, it's delicious, guys. You gotta believe me. Don't you know it, ladies and gentlemen? Charge. Sometimes you can get it with pictures of Batman on it. And if you drink enough of it, you'll look like this gentleman. Anyway, yeah. And don't forget about Fang while you're at it. Charge. Yeah, right, whatever. All right, look at this illustration. God damn it. The infidel clowns, see, they stop the bombing when the Dr. Pepper commercials come on because they respect Dr. Pepper. The infidel clowns hid in the cemetery until sunset. Launching their attack, they swept past the mall and Denny's before being violently repulsed with great loss of life. Look at that drawing. Look at this, man. Wow. Their shacks were torched. We fired on their fleeing numbers. Die, infidels, we screamed. Shot down like dogs, they stacked to the sky. Still many escaped. We were crestfallen. Look at that illustration. How about that one? The Arsenal princess cleaned her guns. She loved guns. She dreamt of guns. Guns were magnificent and holy, high caliber weapons of all makes. She loved them all. Rivals factions clashed. Bozo was slain gangland style. The end time is really here. Too many died in the septic tank of doom. That's good dialogue. I mean, that's good writing, don't you think? And then hot dogs appeared in a beer-colored sky. The holy man masticated involuntarily until darkness covered his eyes. Look, I've got a centerfold, a pin-up, a center spread there of Julie Newmar. And I got like Carolyn Jones. You know, I've always been really into Morticia Adams. It's like, look at her there as a beatnik. Yeah, it's got all this pin-up stuff and shows you how to do scrotum self-repair. This is a magazine a friend of mine put out called Macumba. I did the cover for this issue, again using Zipatone shading effects, the old school, with the, like I said, with X-Acto blade relay. Computers weren't even a factor in 1993. Yeah. Saw some Bill Ward art I used to own, and I gave that away, but I can't show it to you because it has nudity in some of his later stuff. So anyway, I still have a representation of it in this issue. Oh well. Que lastima. All right, you came here to see comic books. You're getting bored. Let's see what we can do here for you. Oh, look, here's a backing board. Back in the 90s, some of the comic shops tried to get fancy. This was one called Grand Slam. They sold sports cards. So they got this artwork of She, And and they have their address there on their sword. It was at 3436 Williams Road, over there near Cherry Lane. And, they had two locations back in the days when everybody was speculating and comic collecting was so much fun. The comics were so beautiful in the 90s, don't you think? Oh my gosh. What a great time. Well, actually, some people were little kids then, and they really loved that. I was watching that channel, Cartoonist Kayfabe, the guy that does the Red Room, and his friend who does these retrospective, I know he does these retrospective comic books. He did one about the Fantastic Four, about their entire history, and now he's doing one on the Hulk that's coming out soon. Okay, I've got some bags and boards, so I'm going to start doing some bagging and boarding videos again soon. Some of you really liked that, and it was fun. Here's a book I'm going to read soon. I just got Nexus Meets Madman. I think this is a really cool cover. I mean, it's just beautiful. Steve Rude was great. Is great. Why do I talk in past tense about people? It's weird. I guess being at combat, you just figure no one's going to survive. All right, put this shit down. What do we got here? I got to take this stuff and put it somewhere so I can get down to show you the war books. Some other stuff I've been getting lately. Anything in here of interest? Not really. Let's see. Okay. Some more war books. How am I going to do this? Oh, I'll push this back. I'll move the Dr. Pepper can. But remember that good times begin with Dr. Pepper because it's distinctively different. Not a cola or a root beer. It's the light and lively taste that you'll cheer. And they're a sponsor here. They've been a sponsor here on the Gratu Orloff television program for several years now. I'm about to get a Dr. Pepper because it's almost 10 in the morning. Although I'm saying that it's nighttime on this show, I lie a lot. Let's see. War comics. I showed some of these books the other night on the Graphic Man television program. So probably a lot of you watched that show, but you'll be able to see them in greater clarity tonight because when you do those StreamYard shows, it's really difficult to have good resolution. But remember,
open up a brand new scene. Wow, with the Dr. Pepper difference. Sure.
Yeah, drink Dr. Pepper, ladies and gentlemen. They are a very magnanimous sponsor here. I found out I'm a billionaire. Because remember that the current resident of the White House, when he was running to be the resident of the White House, he said that taxes aren't going up on anyone but the top 1%, the billionaires. Well, I got a letter yesterday that said that my retirement check, my annuity or whatever, that I get each month is going down by $60. So that was good news. That means I'm a billionaire. I didn't realize it I gotta check my bank account. I must have $1 billion in there. It's probably that Jasara they've been talking about. Right? Right. That's getting a little loud. Now look at this. I got an issue of Play Demon. It's the holiday issue. It's actually some comic. I forget what it's called, like Hell Cop. It looks like a real shitty comic. I just like the cover, so I actually purchased it. There's a tank going by outside, so I gotta like do something about that. You can get Diet Dr. Pepper as well, ladies and gentlemen, for you fat asses like me. Except it will cause you to have holes in your brain if you drink too much of it. That's the only problem with the Diet Dr. Pepper. But you lose weight. We're going to do a retrospective of Micronauts comics soon. So, goddamn, I'm fat. Oh, holy shit. That Dr. Pepper will put weight, lots of pounds on you, I must say. Fat asses begin with Dr. Pepper. Distinctively different Dr. Pepper. It's not a, it's not a cola or a root beer. It's a light and lively taste that you'll cheer. Sorry. Got to do a little hoarding dance here. It's hard to get around here. I'm trying to build back better here in the Grautour Orloff bunker. Yeah, we got tanks and half tracks going down the street up there, up above us, and jeeps, explosions. It's hard to have enough quiet to do a network television program here. All right, here's a shit. Here's an issue of Marvel Age with Prince Namor the Submariner on the cover. And here's the Punisher. Remember that crappy movie? Well, when I get a Soul Rage comic, it creates what, endorphins, I guess. It just makes my month. So, I really want to get at least a couple of Silver Age comics a month. And I've never had this. Made me so happy to get this the other day. Amazing Spider-Man number 58. I already have this, but I got another copy of X-Men 24. And I got The Amazing Spider-Man 54. And I think I already own this, but now I have another copy. If not, I have it now. It's Tales to Astonish, number 101. Okay. So. Oh. Got some books up here on top of these boxes. Ugh. Okay, these are some childhood copies of war books that I need to bag and board because, yikes. Because I want to put them with these new war comics that I just got. That are from a single owner collection. Some guy that bought them at the local PX, wherever he was stationed. Either he was a kid and his father was in the army, or he was in the army, but all the books were comics. I mean, no, they weren't. All of them were Mark Jewelers, had the Mark Jewelers insert in it, which is commonly done at, at PX's. I just saw there was a bent corner in a comic, so therefore I was upset. And of course I have no clock in here, so I'm going to just go by the amount of time into the video to know. I've got to go get my wife's phone charging cable stopped working. Oh, speaking of her, I wore this shirt last video, and it's a 1960s Smirnoff ad. But she bought this for me. Let me get it good. So it's I might have to actually freaking stand up. What a horrible thing. Okay, so that's a Smirnoff ad. Anyway, she bought that for me as a Christmas present. So I forgot to say that, she got it for me. So now I have. So thank you, Cleo. You may know her as Greta here on the Greta Orloff channel. She goes by Greta Orloff. But her human name is Cleo. All right. So it's been quite an interesting time the last week. What have you guys been up to? I'm gonna set it. I've been doing it this way. I put the board into the bag. Some people disagree with this technique, but I learned it from Man Bear Pig, who has a popular channel here on YouTube, and he gets all his boards into the bags and then just slides the comic in. But some people disagree. They don't like this technique. I think Captain Strangelove said he doesn't like to do it this way. I guess it seems to work for me lately. Sometimes I do it the old way and put the board and the comic into the bag at the same time. I don't know. It's one of those things. Okay. So, this is a comic I bought when it came out off the newsstand. when Evel Knievel was still a hero. I love these war comics. I love Joe Kubert. And the Haunted Tank was great too. Okay, so GI Combat goes there. This is what I was upset about. I saw this fold. I don't think I did that, but this is not a childhood copy. This is something I bought at a later time. So let's just assume that this fold was done by someone else, because I don't want to assume that was me. Anyway, I've had this particular copy for a while. Yeah, DC experimented with raising their comic book price to $1. There, what was it, about 79? Yeah. Late 1979, DC raised their price. But there's no ads. See, there's art on the cover. And it's really as thick as a Golden Age book. Now, $1 seems like nothing today. But in 1979, that was a kind of a significant raise of the price for a comic. When you think that 1979 and 1970 comics were 15 cents, and now here are the close of the 70s and they're up to $1. Well, my older brothers are about 10, 11 years older than me, and my brother Mike said, "You're paying $1 for a comic? You're crazy," because he paid 12 cents and maybe 15 cents in the later days. And I know that my brothers mainly bought DC. They didn't like Marvel at all. So, because the comics didn't survive to be handed down to me. A lot of toys were handed down to me. There's a teddy bear over there that was theirs in the 50s, and it was handed down to me. But the comics, they kept them in my dad's Foot Locker, his Army Foot Locker. And then they had another Foot Locker they kept Tonka trucks in. None of that stuff got handed down to me. I don't know, but we had to move a lot with my dad being in the Army, and I guess the comics got pitched at some point. Did I even show you this cover? All right. This is 217 of GI Combat. I don't know if I showed you the last one. I'm getting distracted here. Anyway, he made fun of me for buying these dollar books. But, yeah, at this point, they put ads in the back. It's still $1. It's still thicker than a normal comic, but they got some ads. There's a Lifesavers ad. So, yeah. And then the dollar experiment fizzled, and I think they brought the price back down to 75 cents. That's my recollection. Probably wrong. Anyway, my brother is very disapproving of that. Anyway, so, I would inquire with my brothers, what kind of comics did you buy in the 60s? Because I'm, just dreaming, what if all those comics were handed down to me? And I determined, they mainly bought war books. And so I bought a lot of war books, and a lot of the books that they were probably buying then to try to reclaim my legacy. What would have been handed down to me, I've tried to recreate that. And I know my brother Mike was saying, I had all of the Dial H for Heroes. He was telling me this in the 70s. So, I looked into that and the price guide and found out there was no comic called Dial H for Hero. It was a feature in House of Mystery before they went to an all horror format with Kane, the caretaker of the House of Mystery, around the turn of the decade from the 60s into the 70s. It became more like an old EC comic. But, oh shit, this cover, speaking of EC comics, this cover is very EC-like. Look how his hand isn't burned yet. That's so macabre. Macabre, that's really, I don't say that word very much because when I was a kid, macabre. I didn't know how to pronounce that frickin' word. You'd see it in comics all the time. Oh, I need more bags and boards. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, I'll be doing more videos now because I'm starting to move all the comics into one central room because I just been moving boxes furiously this morning because my friend's coming over to visit and he sleeps in the guest room, which I had comic boxes everywhere, and it's just yeah, a lot of times on Friday mornings I'm scrambling to get everything ready for him and blow up his inflatable mattress and all that stuff. All right, here's another GI Combat. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. See, I'm doing it the old-fashioned way because I don't have them ready. Yeah, I'm noticing I've got a tiny YouTube channel, you know, but I like to look at the YouTube statistics on the YT Studio or whatever they call it. And it used to be more detailed. It used to say you have 80% of your viewers are aged 54 to 65, and this many are women, this many are men, and you've got a few people in the 30s watching, and it was very detailed. Now it just says 100% 54 to 65, 100% men. It seems like they're not as specific as they used to be. I know there are women watching because my wife watches on her account. And I know there are people that are older than 65 watching, and I know there are people younger than 54 watching. Not a lot, because I pretty much make fun of all the new stuff, and I make fun of people that collect key issues only to slab and put on their walls. And, so I alienate and offend a large group of people. Oops, shit. This is a cool snake cover. Oh, the Power Lords. How exciting. Yeah, I'm going to do some retrospectives on some of the comic books based on toy lines. I don't know, was Power Lords turned into a comic? Probably, but the ones I like were Micronauts and ROM. And I never read too many issues of Shogun Warriors, although in retrospect, I wish I'd bought more of those toys. They're, you know. But, you know, by then, I was born in 65. I was getting to be, you know, almost in high school, and I don't know why. I can't account for it. Those damn toys are gigantic. I've got one that I bought years later, but you know, the Shogun War. Later in the 90s, I really got into Japanese culture. I met a guy that was a real nut for Japanese culture and the band Kiss, and he collected toys, and he traded to people in Japan. They would send him VHS copies of stuff recorded off the air, all the Kamen Rider shows and all this stuff that now everyone just knows as Power Rangers. But it was the Japanese knew how to do superhero shows. You know, they brought Power Rangers over. It was called Zoo Ranger over there, and they filmed scenes with American actors that were basically like soap opera, not even good enough for soap operas, and then they had the fight scenes out of the Japanese episodes, but everything else was done very badly for American audiences. But yeah, the Japanese had great, Ultraman. Inframan was a Korean knockoff of Kamen Rider and Ultraman, mostly Kamen Rider. So yeah, that means we should probably take shelter, maybe in the bathtub or something, but don't worry about it. I'm gonna keep showing you some comics because I'm on a time schedule here. I still got to buy my wife a phone charging cable, but you know, if we still have enough film on this walkie-talkie here, I'll take you with me to buy the phone charging cable. This is not a childhood copy because I would not have that tear. And oh, and I've got 2 copies of this one, so I have 2 copies of GI Combat number 262. I don't know if you call it a childhood copy when you're like 14, 15 when something comes out. I don't know if you're a child of it. Whatever. What the hell is that noise? GI Combat 272. Cool art in here. So,
if you're over 50, imagine you could turn back the clock on your stiff, achy joints.
Oh boy, I don't know. I really threw my, I was afraid I'd throw my back out this morning moving all these long boxes, but yeah, everyone's right. All my friends here on YouTube that I talk to and all the other 4-color fossils that have converted their whole collection over into short boxes, because long boxes, just a word of advice to the younger viewers, don't use long boxes because you're going to have to convert to short boxes at some point. Oh, what a great cover. But that's the thing. When I signed up for YouTube, I don't remember giving them my age or my sex. How do they know how old I am? So it may be that a lot of the people that watch this channel never gave that information. How does YouTube know all that? Or do they triangulate from your Facebook account, since, I don't know, YouTube is owned by, I think everybody is owned by the same people, and they probably know from your IP address all your stats. I don't know how they know, honestly. Oh, this is a copy that I've had since I was a kid. This copy of GI War from like 1972 or so. It's 20 cent DC. And then I got this at Duncanville Books, a slight upgrade, real cheap. It reprints the World War II GIs fighting dinosaurs kind of stories. Alright, so now I'm going to combine those books with these books. And I've got lots of war books over here that are 60s and 50s, but this is just 1970s stuff I'm showing you tonight. So I'll put the GI War in. Okay, so here's some of the books I got the other day, like this copy of 237. But let's see. Okay, so, and then 246. Okay, this one I think I just showed you, didn't I? This is $1.50. Hold on. Let me get these 262. 217, 210, 202. All right, and play demon. Okay, so I'm getting these in order. Okay, so I'll put this childhood copy in there. Okay, I already showed you 202. Is that a Neil Adams? Yeah, it's a Neil Adams cover. Look at that. That's a great cover. Neil Adams is a genius. Just don't let him write. As long as he's drawing, he's great. 210, 217. These are the ones you've already seen. Okay, 237. I just showed you that. What? Okay, 245. Did I just show you that? Isn't that amazing? Oh, that's a guy that's alive, even though he's been burned so badly, but he's still fighting. I thought he was fighting a zombie, and I was thinking, they normally don't have supernatural. Oh, yeah, they do. But they don't normally have a supernatural element. Well, yes, they do, too. That's a haunted tank story. What am I talking about? The tank is haunted. I don't know what I'm talking about. All right, so I have 2 copies of this issue now. Beautiful cover. Okay, 251. Now I've got some Marvel 2-in-1s mixed in here that need to go over here. I'll show you those in another episode. 252, part of that collection I got. $253. $254. The sound effects here is supposed to, I got it off YouTube. I'm recording. It's very inaccurate. This is supposed to be the sounds of jungle warfare, so they got the sounds of birds and little animals with the gunfire. My father was in Korea and Vietnam, and he said the truth about combat is it's long stretches of quiet, of boredom, punctuated by very short periods of loud noise, but it's not constant combat. And when between those moments of combat, the thing about war is it's absolutely quiet and silent. The birds don't make any noise. You don't hear anything. It's very surreal and creepy. So the birds, that's obviously not a combat veteran that put together that mix, because all the wildlife's in shock. They don't make noise during war. Okay, so I'm putting in this childhood copy into this box. I'm making a war short box here of 70s war books is what I'm doing. Okay, here's one that just was purchased. Yes, see that little okay, so this is one we were looking at the other night on Graphic Man's show. It's a Japanese girl there, and I said, why is she shooting at a Viking? And Basil Orloff in the comments said, nah, that's a shogun, that's a samurai warrior. I didn't notice that, but I guess it must be. I don't know. Yeah, it's definitely not a Viking. I was thinking, why is she shooting at a Viking? Oh well. Issue 258. And then copy I got from that collection, 259. I'll put my childhood copy in front of it so I know. Because when I do it, I can write on the board in the back, childhood copy. But what I do is I tend to put, if I have duplicates of an issue, I put the one I got when I was a kid first, then the one I got later after it. It's because I'm lazy. Whose war is it anyway? What does that say? A Bizarre Battle Tale by Pat Broderick and Dick Ayers. And Joe Kubert was a genius. Okay, so here's that copy of 262. The one that has the missing corner. And then apparently I got one in that collection. So now I got 3 copies of that. Here's 263. Here's 264. See, I try not to curse. I speak in tongues, and I channel ancient languages, ancient Atlantean, ancient Assyrian. So I might go, so the way that people spoke in biblical times, or perhaps in the time of Conan the Barbarian, or ancient Babylon. I hope I'm not summoning evil spirits. That would be bad. I'm trying not to curse on this fucking channel because it offends people. And every time I do a video, I lose 1 subscriber. It seems like you're supposed to gain subscribers with each video. By the way, hit that like button and subscribe. I'm trying to grow this channel. It would be great if I could make enough from my YouTube channel to replace that $60 they're cutting from my monthly paycheck. Wouldn't that be great? That's not going to happen anytime soon. It took like 2.5 years to get 322 viewers. My wife says 322 is some, she says that's a cool number because I think that's some evil number from the people that run the show. Like 322 is some number that all the evil people that run our world, like, I don't know, look up 322. Maybe it's the Skull and Bones number or something, you know. Well, I love this cover. Look at this. Okay, so I'm moving into Sergeant Rock. Okay, so hold on. Let me finish up with these GI Combats. That was 269, 272. I don't know what the last issue of GI Combat was. Maybe it was this. Look at that cool cover. Damn, that's cool. They look so cool getting shot at by a tank. Shit, they're being hit by the tank. Holy shit. She sure looks glamorous for being hit point blank by a tank. I think they'd be a little bit more messed up than that. Anyway, this Sergeant Rock cover. And I've got more Sergeant Rocks. I've got to find my Sergeant Rock box. We were talking the other night on Graphic Man's channel that for years there was a rumor they were going to make a Sergeant Rock movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger played him, which would not make a whole lot of sense for a guy with a German accent to be fighting the Germans. But again, Joe Kubert was very prolific and very amazing. I mean, look at this photo montage cover back behind him. Sergeant Rock. This is the first page of the 30th anniversary story appearing in this issue of Sergeant Rock. So they've been going for 30 years. This is a Mark Jewelers. A lot of these are. I wrote it on the back. Well, on some of them I wrote it on the back. But yeah, those dollar issues that were thick, they didn't have Mark Jewelers inserts in the dollar books. But the thinner books, they would have the Mark Jewelers insert. Do you guys know what that is? It's I don't know. I like to pretend that I have younger viewers watching that are learning about the hobby, and because I have a natural tendency to want to teach about comic book history. But if everybody watching is my age, then they don't need lessons. Okay, so guys that are stationed in Japan, off who knows where, there's usually on an army base. You've got a movie theater, you can go see movies. You've got a PX, you can go and buy comic books and magazines. There's usually a radio station that plays American music and has an American DJ. All the other stations are in, like when we were in Germany, there was an American radio station that played the top 40. And it's back when we lived in Germany, when my dad was stationed in Germany, it was like 69 to 72. Back then, top 40 was the gamut. The music wasn't segregated then. In the top 40, you might have a soul song, you might have a rock and roll song, you might have a country song. And it was, so you'd hear the Carpenters, and then you'd hear Grand Funk Railroad or whatever. It was all, music was not like all on separate radio stations then. Top 40 was just whatever the popular stuff was. And then you'd have, sometimes you'd get like one American TV station that would show whatever they'd pick from the different 3 networks in PBS. They'd usually have Sesame Street and some cartoons. So you didn't have much. And if you were stationed somewhere and you were lonely for your girlfriend back in the States, you say, gosh, when I get back to the States, I want to marry her. So it's like, I want to buy her a ring. And there weren't jewelry stores there. The PX didn't. I know maybe they had jewelry, but so what this company decided they would do, all the comic books being sent to PXs, base exchanges, they would put a special insert in the center where the staple is. And it was a company called Mark Jewelers. So some people prize these issues that have this in there. And all it is just the 4-page color little thing. It says Mark Jewelers. And you can kind of tell that a comic has it because it feels a little bit like it has a little bit more weight to it, like it has a backing board inside of it. And sometimes it'll have a little star stamped right about here. Sometimes on the back, they would stamp it when you bought it. They didn't do it with this one. And I know all this because I was buying a lot of comics at the PX because my dad was in the Army. My mom would shop at the PX. My dad would take me there, and I'd go straight to the comic books and the magazines and the record. They sold records there too. And the great thing about it is they didn't charge you tax on the books. There's no tax on the purchases that servicemen buy at the PXs. And then there was a supermarket there on the base called the Commissary, where the food is a lot cheaper, and again, there's no tax. And that's one way that they help out our soldiers. And it seemed like back in those days that the government respected the soldiers. I don't know if they do anymore. It doesn't really seem like they do. This is issue 371. I think that's a really cool design. Here's 372. 372. I don't know why I'm whispering. Sorry. $373. You know what's cool is that if you like Joe Kubert, he did a lot of the covers for All-Star Squadron in the 80s. So you get to see Joe Kubert doing all the Golden Age superheroes, the Justice Society. Look at that. All these ghosts. It's fighting off all the ghosts. The thing about these artists in this time period is they were veterans. A lot of them fought in World War II or Korea. They were older guys. So the thing about these war comics in the 70s is what I remember in the 70s, because of the Vietnam War being so unpopular, kids were still interested in the war comics, but mothers were not that thrilled with their kids. Well, I know with playing with war toys, because G.I. Joe stopped being a soldier there around 73 or 4 and started becoming a man of adventure with a beard that went out and like robbed pyramids of their treasures and stuff, and rode around in a Jeep, but he was no longer a soldier. And they stopped selling toy guns. But these comics kept coming out. They were popular. This is a very grisly cover. It's just this guy, like, why me? He's shot in the throat. It's like horrifying. But these guys had seen the real thing. So the artists that drew the really grisly horror comics in the early 50s, those were guys that had fought in the war just 6, 7, 8 years before, and they'd seen real dead people and what people look like when they're mutilated. So they'd seen the real thing. And by the 70s, those artists that were in their late 20s and 30s then were getting to be older guys. And so these comics, I guess, would give kids in the 70s a way to talk to their granddads about, bond with them about this stuff, the war. Most of my contemporaries, when I was growing up in the 70s, their parents were much younger than my parents. So their parents were like in their 30s, and some of them might have been Vietnam veterans, but a lot of my contemporaries in elementary school, and their parents were teenagers in the 60s. They were early baby boomers, yeah. But my parents were born in the late 20s. My father missed World War II really by a couple of years. He was in high school if it had gone on. But the day he graduated, the day after he graduated college, he was drafted into the Korean War, which Korean War uniforms, equipment, very similar, looked very similar to World War II. But there was always a bias, when you went to the veterans groups. According to my father, the guys that fought in World War II kind of looked down on the people that were Korean War vets or Vietnam vets. They kind of kept to themselves and thought that they were special. I don't know that all of them did. That was just my father's perception. .387. Oh shit! That bullet. Yeah. All right. I just love looking at this art. That's a cool cover. I just hate the UPC code. That's the thing I hate about this time period. Look at that Nazi. It looks like the skipper on Gilligan's Island. All happy. Alright. And then I got some House of Mysteries. With this, I'm eager to read I, Vampire. People are telling me that this I, Vampire storyline is great. I picked up House of Mystery very faithfully as a kid, but by this time period, the 60-cent era, I was still buying comics, but I guess I wasn't getting House of Mystery as much because I didn't pick up any of these issues. Because I was getting into high school, I guess. I don't know. But I think what it was is when I went to the comic shops, I was picking up Silver Age comics. And I wasn't so much interested in what was coming out then. I would get some comics coming out then. I can't account for why. I guess limited funds, possibly. I don't know why I didn't get these. I mean, I wasn't wealthy. There's another I, Vampire story. .305. I got a lot more. Do you want to see them? Maybe. I figure I'm a little nervous because I don't know what time it is. It's Is this box? Okay. I need an empty box. I think this box that you're leaning up against is empty. Let's see what's in this. Oh, it's a BCW box. Look at that. How it has that stupid open. I hate that. Worst boxes in the world. This is filled with, what is in here? Gru. Oh, it's got oh look, it's a issue of Top Cat. Uncle Scrooge. These are books I got to file, and I'll be doing it soon here on this channel. But not today. Oh, that's filled. Where is it? Let's get some room in it. There's Bullwinkle and Rocky meeting Ronald Reagan. Some issues of Jonah Hex. Aquaman, Daredevil, stuff I gotta file away. I'm just putting these comics in here, these like Marvel 2-in-1s, just so that they're away from the cats. Creatures on the Loose, Man Wolf, what the fuck, Master of Kung Fu. Oh, more GI Combat. Shit, I gotta put these into that box. Alright, there's more war books. Sorry, guys. Just when you think it's over, we find some more war books. I'll do another show tomorrow, which is Saturday, and it'll be an intense show where we go through a lot of comics. Just one moment, pardon me. Un momento, por favor. En la escuela de los muertos, los gatos están mierda. En la pinga de los gatos muertos. Okay. All right, I'm back. Where am I? Okay, all right, cool. What am I doing? Oh, Batman comics. I got some Batman comics too that I should be showing you. Look at this, it's like that hand is right from a Vault of Horror comic. I don't remember the issue number. And this is a key issue. I was supposed to talk about key issues you can get for less than $5. I forgot. I thought if I use like a Comic Tom headline, it might get me some viewers and some subscriptions. But I don't think it'll work. Here's GI Combat 238. Let's get it in there. Do I have that? 237? No, I don't have 238. Here's 248. I don't have that one. Ooh, look at 250. That's a cool cover. That goes right here in front of 251. Here's 247. That goes there. Another copy of 245. I'll put that after my childhood copy. And 244. Now I got to fill in the holes, but really I'd rather get the ones from the 60s before I get these, but they're all so cool. I mean, Joe Kubert he wasn't sliding at this time period, you know. That time period Jack Kirby's art was suffering. it wasn't as good as it was in the 60s. I hate to say it, but Joe Kubert, it's like he got better with age, almost. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you subscribe. If you tell somebody somewhere, hey, subscribe to this channel, if you can just help me get the $60 back per month, I'm gonna call and ask them why. What is it about the taxes that are causing me to lose $60 a month, because I'm on a fixed retirement income. But make sure you support our sponsor, Dr. Pepper. I mean, I guess I should have expected that when Brandon got into office. Everyone said your taxes are going to go up, and oh well. It's wonderful. So I will be seeing you. Adios.